Yo, what's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Hope everybody's having a good day today. Hope everybody's having a pretty good day today, guys. Now, I say that pretty confident that most of you guys are not having your best day today because we're experiencing some stuff in the crypto market right now, and it's not the most pleasant. Trust me, I know. But we are here to talk about it and figure out what's going to happen next. So, at least we're here together for that. But yeah, overall, guys, not the best time. I mean, it's just not. Let's see who we got in the chat. What's going on, Artful? Back again with the number one, man. Thank you so much for the support. Rick, what's going on? Juan, what's up? Crypto Profit, how's it going, man? Chaz Mandu, how's it going? Shuba. Let's see. Daniel Blaine, what's up, man? Chosen, Invu, Infor RG, and Cam Vlog. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the stream. Thanks for showing out so early. Do appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, as you can see, guys, we're starting to bounce a little bit now. But overall, we have just not been in such a hot spot, and there's just no getting around that. Things have been looking pretty rough, and things still look pretty rough. And now we got to talk about what's probably going to happen next. Things are looking a little bit better. I will say they are looking a good bit better. We've pretty much, I mean, we've fallen so far that what's happening now, this consolidating and this slowdown of selling off, it's to be expected because we sold off so far so fast. And I mean, just look at the 4-hour chart here. We came from sitting at 47.5 going all the way down to 42,500 within hours. I mean, really just hours here. So we fell over 10% on Bitcoin in a matter of, just hours. So it's to be expected that we hit a point where we start to stop falling, at least for some period of time. So don't get too excited about this consolidation here. We did hit a key level of support. That's what stopped us. But as we know, that does not mean all of a sudden because we stopped that there won't be another fall. We just took a break. And so now what we need to do is take a look at what we know, take a look at the charts, and consider everything that we can to figure out, is this a consolidation between a part 2 sell-off, or is this a consolidation where we're going to sit for a little bit, trade sideways, and then start to bounce back up and see somewhat of like a U or V-shaped recovery? That's what the question is, right? Not just getting too excited saying, yes, the dip, all in. Not so fast. Got to do your analysis first. So that's what this stream will be for, and we'll keep it to the point. Don't forget, drop any questions you have related to this situation. I will say pretty much all I've got to say regarding my additional blockchain research was maybe Avalanche. All right, and I still need to do more research on that, but I'm hearing a lot of people talking about it as maybe the next Cardano. Was not able to get a list together. I still intend to, hopefully by tomorrow. But now I'll roll through some of your comments, and then we'll look at the charts. So it looks like Rick was able to get out when it started to drop. That's good. I've been a little quiet over the last couple days. I've been saying a few things here and there on Twitter, but overall I've just been pretty quiet because there was really just only one thing to say, and that was either we go above 48K and things start looking positive, or we keep an eye on 46,500 and hope we don't go below it, and if it does, then we're going down. So, cut your losses, trim your position size so you don't bleed out quite as fast, whatever you need to do, and have some capital for the buyback. But that was really it. There wasn't really anything else to say. We knew 46.5 was the signal that bad things would happen. And then we knew somewhere around 42.5, 43, 44,000 was kind of the stopping point. Those were key levels of support before continuation at least. And here we are. So I just didn't want to keep saying the same thing over and over again. It was just one thing to remember, and it was that. And unfortunately, and here's the thing, guys, on our last stream on Friday, I was seeing some positive potential signals coming from the charts. But the thing is, the charts, and this is what I said on Friday too, technical analysis is not the most important part of determining what is going to happen with price action for various reasons. And one of those reasons is that a lot of the moves are sparked based off of news events, bad news, good news, the way that people are feeling. And then you look at your charts and you do your technical analysis and your charting to figure out, well, where is the price probably going to move to based off of the way people are feeling now. So if people are panicking, oh man, we're probably going to see a sell-off. Where does my technical analysis tell me that we're probably going to stop and potentially see a bounce, where maybe I can buy into that and maybe that will be a good dip buy? That's where technicals come in. Technical analysis does not just predict the future forever and ever and ever and ever, as if people's emotions and real world events don't exist and won't influence the price. So please keep that in mind. All of these streams, I will be right a lot of times. I will also be wrong a lot of times, because technical analysis will only get you so far. And that's why what we really try to do in these streams is consider the big picture. And overall, that big picture, there's just a lot of things going on. And my gut feeling from the start, and most of you already know this, the infrastructure bill, I don't care how much the whales tried to mask, with their bullish activity, that they don't care about it that much. It kind of only makes sense to care about it, because even if the government passes it and doesn't strictly enforce it, it's still going to be a concern, because they could at any moment change their mind. They could at any moment decide, oh, well, now we are going to enforce it. Now we're going to say that this is the rule and this is the norm. It's a little scary. And so just having that thought looming over your head makes me think that even if we don't see an insane market crash to like $20,000 Bitcoin, we're going to see some sort of pullback. And maybe this could even be a portion of why we're seeing this here. Now, we know there's also some really bad news with China and all that, and that may be the primary drivers here. But there's a lot of very, 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 very good things going on, and a lot of negative regulatory financial things going on as well that are a bit concerning. So I'm not surprised to see us crash, is basically what I'm saying, long story short. I am very unsurprised. Now, it was also very unfortunate, right? It was very unfortunate, but I'm also not surprised. Let's see. Let's take a look at some of your comments here. And what's going on, all 20 of you? Thank you so much for hitting that like button already so fast. It's really helping the stream out. Thank you. Glad you were able to get out, Rick, at that panic signal where we knew things were going red. Good call. Juan, what's going on? How's it going, man? October will be big. I call it the big O. I think October is going to be a powerful month for cryptocurrency as well. The thing is, like I said, emotions really can take precedent sometimes, and everybody's thinking, oh, September notoriously has not been a green month. So even if you're relatively positive, it's hard to be bullish beyond a certain point, because you're just thinking what everyone else is thinking, is that we're probably, no matter what, going to end up closing red somehow, which means we're under like that 48,000 price level at the end of the day. So it's going to be a little tricky to really get beyond that. And it does look like we will be closing red at this point. But then everyone is already geared up to be bullish in October. See how even you're saying October will be big? Everyone's already thinking this is our bad month, but October is going to be our good month. So everyone's going to go into October feeling bullish and ready to buy versus ready to like panic. So that will probably directly contribute to all the retail buying pressure being bullish. And then obviously the whales at the end of the day have the final say. But let's see. Bad day in the market's falling asleep. I feel you. Hope the next few days are big. Me too. I think Cardano will have some positive days, but overall here, we'll talk about that in a minute. The bleeding is bad, indeed. Yep, you're bleeding. I'm bleeding with you too, Rick. Very massive dip today. Yeah, 19 cents was scary. Oh, you bought a lot of ADA at 2.6. Well, I would hope you have some money to average down. I am never one for all inning. But at these prices, this is a great time to snag some ADA. We saw ADA 197 today. ADA under $2 today. Absolutely insane. And this is with them having a big event in 5 days, where if Bitcoin ends up flipping at least somewhat green, we might see a bit of an ADA run from wherever we are to wherever that may be. So I'm just saying, if Bitcoin gives us some green percentage points, we might see ADA, 3x that percentage gain. So maybe we see like a 5-10% gain on, some kind of hype run up is to be expected. So I think ADA will have regain some ground here over the next couple days. That'll be nice. The what's it called? Was it Evergreen? I'm blanking. Evergrande. There it is. Just in case you don't know, guys, massive FUD. And in case you don't know what that means, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So basically just emotional panic vibes being spread throughout the world right now. And that's a big reason why we're seeing, stock market and crypto market sell-offs. There's this massive company called the Evergrande Group. I'm sorry if I misexplained this a little bit, but hopefully you get the overall idea. They had like $310 million worth of like financials. Was it million or maybe it was billion? Hang on, let me get that number right. I believe it was actually billion. Maybe I'll just pull it up on screen here so we can take a look at it. All right. It says the Evergrande Group's a Fortune 500 real estate developer with headquarters in China. It's a big business as recently as 2020, and it had sales of over 100 billion and adjusted core profits of about 5, which is crazy amounts of money. It became the world's most heavily indebted developer with a debt load of over 100 billion and over 300 billion dollars in liabilities. So this company borrowed insane amounts of money, up to like $300 billion worth of liabilities here in order to accomplish their purpose. But the problem is now that they're going bankrupt, right? $300 billion worth of borrowed money, and you're going bankrupt means that there's going to be a lot of people that don't get their money back. And if you assume that a lot of these people were like, already over leveraged and, they relied on that money, and it's saying that a lot of these people relied on the interest paybacks off their investment into this company to continue with their investments and support their financial investments and everything. So if this company goes bankrupt and those people not only lose their money, but they also don't get their interest payments to keep sustaining them, then those guys are going to get liquidated and go underwater. And then you get this chain effect all the way down, which could end up with a lot of people being forced to sell. Everybody, the investors have to sell, and then everybody that invested in them has to sell. And, you just get this chain effect of people needing to sell and close all their positions. All these massive, $300 billion worth of financials, that many people needing to close positions in the stock market, the crypto market, whatever, because they're not going to be able to sustain anymore. So overall, just really a bad thought. And that's the easiest way I can really explain why that created some FUD. Yeah. What's up, Doge Scotland? Yeah, everything. If you're looking for, like Invu said, if you're looking for a long-term play, please don't do what we did when we were at Doge 16, Doge 19, and again here with Doge 19. Like, you do have to buy at some point, guys. If you're not buying, you're literally not investing. So ask yourself, what are you doing? What are you doing in the crypto or stock market if you're never taking a position? Because you're not trading. So what is it? Just accept that you are a stock or crypto market spectator, and don't call yourself a trader, because you do have to buy at some point. And buying at the top after the move already takes off and now you're, losing money, that you're not a trader then either. That is just, that's some beginner stuff right there. So when you see a good opportunity, you should start buying at some point. If you're not in, start scaling in 10% of your portfolio, 25%, small amounts, whatever makes you feel comfortable. But you do have to start doing something, That is the whole purpose of, that's the only way you'll make money. Buy low, sell high, says The Chosen. Got it? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, man. Thanks for hanging out. Rick says, do we get in or wait? That is the good question, and let's kind of get into that. Shuba September is red, red, red. Sure is. Luckily, I was out before this happened. Yeah, that's good, man. How does Plan B have all of this figured out? He has insider info. Plan B does a whole lot of research, and big props to Plan B for... Okay, it looks like Weeble froze. Big props to Plan B for mapping all of this stuff out and helping people out that, for free, like especially on Twitter, that don't know how to research a lot of this stuff and staying on top of the news. Now, I don't have quite the free time to stay on top of the news and everything like he does, but I mean, a lot of the things, as far as when it comes to if we're gonna go up where we could go or if we're gonna go down where we could go, that's just basic technicals. So we already knew 46.5 was the crashing, the initiation of the crash. Potential stopping point was anywhere from 44 down to 42.5. We did have strong 200 EMA support on the daily at 42,000 flat, with potential if this continues to head down towards right around 39, bottom being probably 37, no lower. So doing your technicals on the chart, you know that part, but just doing research in the news to figure out what's probably going to happen, and then also checking short percentage, long percentage, checking on options closing and all that kind of stuff. That's where it gets way more in depth. So that takes a lot of time, but you could do it. You could definitely do it. Now, on my way back from work, this looks bad. Oh, it's certainly bad. It is definitely bad. Yeah, even at this point, guys, I would say you should have a position. I really would. Even if it's 10, 15%, something really small, these are the kind of prices you want to start getting into. It doesn't matter if Doge goes down to 15 cents. Dogecoin 21 cents is 6 cents away from Dogecoin 15. These are the prices you want to start getting in the game at. And yeah, keep some extra money in case this doesn't hold and we do a secondary crash. But unless you think Dogecoin's going to 5 or 10 cents, what's wrong with 19 cents? What's the problem with that? What's wrong with ADA at $2 when it was just at 3.10? And what's wrong with, so on and so forth. So to answer your question, and this is not related to what I just said, to answer your question, I would consider starting to get in here for a few different reasons. And I would also consider keeping that starting to get in position size really small for a few different reasons as well. So if we just zoom out and look at Bitcoin on the 4-hour time frame here, you can see a couple things here. So we had the drop, the bounce, the consolidation, the breakout of there, what looked like bullish momentum, and then the panic sells and whale dumping and shorting that started to happen once we crossed under the 200 EMA, which was at about 46.6, 46.5. That was the point we talked about. Once that happened, just a chain reaction. Now what you're starting to see is Bitcoin trying to catch itself, trying to have found what it thinks is a bottom. Conveniently right at 42,500, which we know from the past. I didn't even have to chart out and look at where that was, but we already know, because we talked about this number so much in the past, that 42,500 right here was key resistance and support levels during this whole initial move up, and 42.5 was also the level that we kept talking about that we needed to break above here in order to get confirmation that we were going to be in an uptrend here. Once we got out of this whole market crash situation, right? We looked right about here, said 42.5, and then 42.5 was here, and then it was here as well as support, and then we did a continuation. So 42.5 was the strong level when we were way under, so it's going to be the strong level when we're way under doing a pullback. So we expected the stopping to be right here. At the same time, even if it didn't stop at 42.5, it was still going to stop at 42,000 flat, because the 200 EMA on the daily time frame was right at about 42,000. So if it didn't stop here, it was still going to stop here. So this was the stopping zone. So this here is of zero surprise that we stopped at about 42.5. There's absolutely no surprise. And that's why you saw so many people buy that up. Now, if you were being a little greedy like I was at the moment, maybe you were thinking, we might just fly through that, fake out, and bounce off 42. So I did wait a little longer, but it didn't happen. So, oh well. But we knew here or here in this area, this is going to be a bounce of some sort, a slowdown of downtrend, people buying it up, and then some sort of bounce because of that. So that's where we are right now. Then you want to say, well, how strong was the bounce? How are people buying it up? Does it look like this is the bottom? Are we just going to do a full reversal from here and head back towards, 46, 47, 48? What's going to happen here? Or are we going to consolidate and break to the bottom side? All I have to say is, I don't know. All right. And that's probably not the answer that you want to hear, but it's the truth. These kind of moves are impossible to predict. As we look now, which way is it going to go next? I don't know. A lot of times I've seen this kind of pattern be a continuation move. Okay. Other times it's been a reversal move and it's just fallen out of the bottom of its trend. So we'll have to see. At this point, I'd be less concerned about technicals other than what the next stopping point would be, because that we do need to identify, and more concerned about what's going on in the market right now that could influence Bitcoin to continue crashing versus what would influence it to reverse. What's going on in the market that would do either? Now, if I'm looking at this from a strictly technicals point of view, what I can see here is that, actually, I don't want to use that. What I can see here is that, yeah, we've got like a bit of a flagging going on here. And I'm just going to do this to highlight what's going on, right? You can kind of see what's going on here. But when you look at where the price tends to sit in this little consolidation zone, it's hovering towards like the top half and it keeps rejecting the bottom half. So overall, this reversal pattern looks like it does kind of want to be, this flag pattern looks like it wants to break out to a bullish side. So be it. That's the way it looks. And that's from a purely technical standpoint. It's pushing against the top side, trying to break out the top. It is not pushing against the bottom side, trying to fall. That's where it's looking at right now. Okay, but at the same time, if I take my eyes off the little technicals that I'm trying to find, and I just say, okay, well, what if we do break out of here? We head up to the 100 EMA here, we bounce off 45, whatever, or even this here at around 46. Like, what's going to happen next? Is it going to bounce and dump, or is it going to bounce, continue up? That's where you have to start kind of looking into like, well, what reasons do we have to do something? Overall, I feel like this is somewhat of a bearish time, all things considered, and that there is a slightly higher chance, and maybe I'll just say 55% chance that we go down and 45% chance that we go up, because that's the way it feels right now. The whales have been doing a lot of weird stuff to the price, making it go down at weird times, making it go up at weird times, waiting to the last minute to absolutely dump their positions, just like we saw with the infrastructure bill when they had the hearing. They ran the price up till the last moment, and then they sold. When they already knew what was coming, they just took advantage. That's what they do. They take advantage of the retails because they can do what they want with the market. But overall right now, I think the bias should be a little bit bearish just because of a few things. So despite the fact that we did catch here, we did just make a brand new low. All right, because before we were holding pretty strong at 43,500, and this time we broke down a whole nother 1,000. So all things considered, we did just make a lower low, and that's not good, especially after making higher highs and being up in extremely bullish territory, to then have one flash crash all the way down beyond bearish territories. Not the best thing in my opinion. Despite the rejection wicks here, doesn't make me feel too warm and fuzzy. Other than that, like I said, we've got people already thinking that we're going to close in the red. When you think about what that really means, if we're going to close, make sure we haven't really missed anything here. Okay. If we're going to close Bitcoin in the red for the month, we have to look at what candle we started on to figure out what candle we have to stay under. So it looks like this was the daily starting candle for September, and it opened at $47,055. All right, so if we're going to close red, then we need to, and let's just make sure on the 31st, we closed at, yeah, so right around $47,000 flat. If we're going to close September in the red, we're going to close under $47,000. So that means that despite what's going to happen next, even if we get some kind of breakout of fear and some kind of move up, it's unlikely that we by the end of the month have managed to stay above this white line right here. And maybe I'll just color it orange. No, I won't. Well, I'll just change that one. It's unlikely that we're going to go above and stay above this line here at 46,000. That's not that great of news. And where does that put Cardano even? So let's say 2305. So right here, that only bumps ADA up, you know, to around $2.25. So, and now with ADA, we know that there's some other things behind the scenes that could really help ADA out, like what's happening on the 25th with that event that they're having. But things are going to be relatively bearish. Dogecoin, USD, 2305. Right around the same price there. So around $2.25 ADA, around $22.50, $23 on Dogecoin. If we're going to close in the red, it's unlikely that we're going to see Dogecoin or ADA closing the month out above those prices. So that's bearish, all right? And that's just saying if September is going to be a red month. Because if Bitcoin dumps like it just did, and then by the 31st has gotten back up to 48,000 and above, this September was not a red month. A red month means we close red. So if we're going to close red, we're going to be under those prices. That is something bearish overall. And that then raises the question, well, what are we going to do for the next about 10 days that we have here left in the month? What are we going to do if we need to stay under 46,000, if that's what's going to happen? And we've already had a lot of the messing around happen up here to the top side of this level. There's still a lot of activity to be had, in my opinion, down here to the bottom side. We didn't quite get the touch to the 200 EMA on the daily yet. If we go to the weekly, we've still got some levels under us that we could potentially mess around with. And the level I think is the most likely that we mess around with is going to be the same one that we stopped at the first time when we crashed here down from 64,000. We might be coming down to entertain that 50 EMA line on the weekly time frame again, right at around that 37 to 39-ish $1,000 range. And I think potentially that's where we could stop. I think if we have another sell-off that breaks us below that 200 EMA there on the 4-hour time frame, which sat right at on the daily, which sat right at about 41.8. If we go under there, I think we're heading down to about 40,000, in my opinion. I don't think we're going to go any lower than 37. That's just my guess for now. I don't think we go any lower than 37,000. And there's a few reasons for that. One is that after this massive bull run out of the hole, it just seems unreasonable to be heading back down into this territory, because if we were that bullish, there's nothing that's happened that's that bearish to kick us back down in here. So it wouldn't really make sense to be going that far down. So I'd say anything kind of under here is just extremely unlikely to happen. I don't think we're really going under here. I don't. I truly don't. So I'm going to kind of pretend like this red area doesn't even exist. I think anywhere in this particular area is pretty fair game as far as where a potential stopping point could be. Right in this area. And you can see how that box, the bottom of it, lines up right there with about that 50 EMA on the weekly time frame. That's our next drawn out level that we have. And not only is that a level on the EMA, is that an EMA on the weekly time frame, but as you start to look back at the price action on this move up, you can see why I picked those. Wow, I did not mean to do that. Why I picked those prices. So right here where we just stopped, this was the top here, 42.5, bottoms here, and I showed you where that was before. As you start to look here at this little portion of consolidation, you can also get some support and resistance lines from that price activity. So right at about here, you can see the tops here, resistance, some consolidating resistance here, resistance, and then support here. This was right here at about 40,000. On the bottom side of that, the supports were right here, consolidation in this area and in this area, which was right in that area of about 37 to 37 and a half. And then just a lot of the general trading activity kind of happened right here. If you were just to pick a middle of all of this trading activity where most of it happened, 39,000 would have to be that level that I see. So that's my range. Basically, anywhere from 40 to 37,000 is where I would expect, if we're going to have a part 2 sell-off, for that to stop at. Now, that's going to bring Dogecoin back into the teens. Very clearly, yes, probably, 18, 19 cents. That's going to bring ADA probably right down to its spot that I think would be perfect for a load up, which is going to be right here at 189. Oh, now it's saying 191. It moved up. Right here at about that 190 zone. That's going to be a great, I think that's where the falling will stop. And maybe it overshoots it just by a hair. We get like a 189 touch, and then we start to reverse up. So I think that's going to be the dip buy opportunity for ADA. And then if we go to Dogecoin, if we were to go to the weekly here, I don't think Dogecoin's going quite back to 15 cents, but it could. It could go down to around 16, mostly because on Dogecoin, we've been seeing a lot of weakness. All right, but I don't think we necessarily need to hit that 100 EMA. But its EMAs are just a little different, so it's going to be harder to get a nice level off of that. Its EMAs are in different spots, so maybe we won't look at that. And let's see. All of its trading activity has been quite a bit different. And I'm looking somewhere... Too many lines. I can't even see the price action here. So we're right here. This is where we just stopped at 19.8. It's very possible to head down to this 17 to 18 cent range, in my opinion. 17, 18 cents. I don't even know about 16. I don't think we meet that again. 17 is probably the lowest I would expect. But all of that is possible. All of that's possible. All I'm saying, guys, is that we could very well not see those price levels. But we do need to understand that this is a bearish month. Everyone's already accepted that they think it's going to be a red month, which means you're going to see a lot of buying pressure just not be there unless we look like we're set up to break that norm. And as of this moment now, we are now set up to fulfill that kind of prophecy. And so everybody's going to be feeling bearish, I think, from here forward. We've got the infrastructure bill that we're going to get officially kind of passed and produced by the end of this month. Don't forget that they gave them a deadline of October the 1st to have that thing finished. So that means by the end of this month, that's already supposed to be a red month, we're also going to have the infrastructure bill that, even though they say they're not going to enforce it, is still going to, in writing, cripple cryptocurrency as we know it right now in the United States by having making it kind of illegal to be a miner. And even if you continue to do it, because they decide they're not going to crack down, that is still bearish news. There is no way in the world that is bullish news, except for the fact that the government's taking crypto seriously. All right, but that way that they're doing it is bearish news. So that's not going to help our cause. And we've only got 10 days left for that. And then there's just other things too, right? And now we've got the China Evergrande thing, and we've got some other problems as well. So overall, I think these last couple weeks are shaping up to be bearish, and we very well could see a pullback down to those levels. Now, before that, we could break out the top side of this and mess around with 44s again, maybe even 45, maybe even 46. But I think overall, there has now become a much higher chance that we'll see a strong pullback down to this area, and so I would keep an eye out. And pretty much, I think everyone else is in agreement that it's very likely that it's going to happen. I've been on Twitter too, Plan B, Crypto Kyle. I don't know if you guys follow them on Twitter. I do. They've been saying a lot of the same stuff. And you even hear a lot of now what makes it even worse, the crypto influencers that usually are very bullish are now preaching very bearish things and telling people, there's going to be, another dip or something. So now people have that in their minds. So it's at the end of the day up to the whales, but I think we are going to head down. That's basically the summary. That is what I think. I would love for this to be the bottom. And still, that being said, especially with us consolidating like we are now and not providing much threat, there's nothing wrong with going long here with a small position size and taking a chance at buying the bottom. Because at this moment, this is the bottom. But the question is, will there be another bottom made? But while this is still safe and trading slowly and mostly sideways, consolidating before the next decision, there's nothing wrong with buying a small position size long at the bottom and just hoping that maybe this turns out to not do another dump and you got a nice buy spot. So that is an option. That's something I would entertain. It's something that I usually do, and it's part of trading. You see what looks like a good opportunity. All the technicals pretty much line up, and you take a chance. And you start scaling into that chance, but you don't overexpose yourself to the risk, just in case you're wrong. If you realize that you're wrong, you just cut it, and then you wait for the next opportunity. And in my opinion, this is a pretty good opportunity to potentially start scaling in, or even if you don't sell it, buy a little bit of ADA, or buy a little bit of Dogecoin, or a little bit of Ethereum, or a little bit of Bitcoin, and hold on to that and just see what happens. If it goes up, cool. Then you can add more on the way up. If it goes down, you wait for that next stopping point at around 40 to 37,000, and you load the boat then, and then you're ready to go for takeoff when we bounce from that area. So that's the best way to play it. I have nothing against buying some now, just so we're clear, because like I said, we don't know for a fact that we're going to continue down. And so if you don't know that, all things considered, this spot here is pretty decent. So hope that answered that question. I know that was a lengthy explanation, but I just, I wanted to make sure I was very clear on what my opinion is. But like I said, guys, it's just not a good month anymore for Bitcoin. We had a nice run up right there at the end of August, and then things did not go so well as soon as September started. So it is what it is. Yeah, the hype on Doge isn't there yet. Right now, there's just a lot of distraction in the community. I hate to overtalk about this, but too much NFT stuff going on. And here's the thing. I mean, the NFTs and the Dogecoin hype and all of that is part of, it's a effect of having the community. So it's positive in itself. I just don't like when things get, like when we let those things distract us from what our actual goal is, because it's great that people in the Dogecoin community are supporting other Dogecoin creators in this way, and that, we've got all these NFT artists that are now making tons and tons of money. But the thing is, we haven't been getting as much from the Dogecoin community at the same time, with, accept Doge here, accept Doge there, getting people to run Dogecoin nodes so that the transaction fees get reduced faster. And all these things that could really help further the coin, I think we've stopped worrying about, and now we're just having too much fun. And, work hard, play hard, in my opinion. Now we're just playing, and we're not doing any more work. And if we don't do any more work, like, no one else is going to do it for us. Only the Doge devs, they can give us a coin, but if we don't do the work to make, do our best to make people adopt it, then it's going to flop. Because if we can't convince other people to find some worth in Dogecoin, they're not going to use it. They're going to stick to one that's fundamentally better, like Litecoin, or, Bitcoin with its increasing value over time, or, something like that. And Dogecoin will fail. So that's just being 100% transparent, just like I am with everything else. I love Dogecoin. I love the community, but the community has to stick behind the coin and stay focused and have fun too, but don't let that be all that there is now. Plus, the Ethereum Dogecoin bridge, I just think, is a horrific idea. And ETH 2 isn't even ready yet, so that just puts such a long wait on it as well. It's just, so many things I disagree with right now. I think Dogecoin's in a pretty bad spot, all things considered. I still do think one day it could hit $1, but we have to get back on track. I will buy some at 38. Maybe I'm right or wrong, but that's my play, and I'm not all in though. Nice, nice. Good stuff. Very good. What about everybody else? What are your plans for this moment in time? Are you gonna buy some now, or are you gonna just wait, completely wait? You know, what's your plan? Where would ACH be if Bitcoin drops to 39? Let's take a look. All right. When was the last time Bitcoin was 39? Just in this consolidation here on like August 5th, 4th. I don't know if we're going to get a good example here. Yeah, because this is right when ACH started, you know? When ACH really went live and everyone started talking about it, because TradingView only shows back to August 4th, which is right when Bitcoin hit 39,000 on the way up. And at that point, ACH was about 3 cents. So I don't think ACH is going to fall that far. I would say probably somewhere around, we might see ACH towards 5. I don't think ACH will fall back to 3. Because this was just like it getting started. It's not the same. ACH 5, maybe a little under 5, barely. I don't think we see ACH 3 at Bitcoin 39. Doo-doo-doo. As you can see here, Bitcoin consolidating, deciding what it wants to do still. If we take a look at ADA, let's see what ADA is doing. Same thing. Some rejection wicks towards the bottom side. This could, you know, do a little pattern here where it breaks up to the top. We'll see. We haven't looked at Ethereum recently. Ethereum's hanging in there, still at 3,000. Not bad at all. AMP is actually at a pretty good discount, sitting here at wow, 4.5. That's actually pretty good. It's rare that you see that. As you can see, just looking at the charts, that really only happened one time here. That's when we got that inverse head and shoulders before a massive takeoff to 9. So AMP at these prices is pretty good value. I'm not going to lie. Pretty good. XYO. Oh my. Oh yeah, I remember we talked about this on Friday. Yeah, this is the situation with XYO. If you're looking for a dip value buy, I mean, the price action only goes back to September 9th, and the price there was it was like 2 cents and 0.2 of a cent, 2.5, or we'll just say 3. Right now it's 2 cents and 0.9 of a cent, almost 3 cents. So overall, historically, this is about the bottom on XYO, right? Historically. That being said, it's such a new coin that doesn't really mean anything because you've only got one touch there, and this is the second touch because it's only been out for less than 2 weeks. So even though you're at what's now the bottom, there's no lows that have been written yet below this area. So if Bitcoin crashes and causes XYO to crash, the floor is the limit because no one has any supports or resistances to go buy down here. So that's my concern. There isn't enough trading activity to really map things out so you can look at levels. There are no levels. You could use like a the Fibonacci indicator, and try and map things out that way. But I don't typically use that. I like to just look at previous price trends in history, and there's nothing there to go by. So that's a bit of a concern. That being said, though, if you don't think it's going to crash that hard, you're at about the lowest that it's been. So if you're looking for an entry, technically this is a value, a good value. XRP's kind of at a dip. I'm not surprised. XRP should be dipping just like everything else. Yeah, not surprised. This is good. This is where XRP should be. Yeah, this is correct. And just like the others, slightly below the high, the low of the first crash. So yeah, this looks about right. Good stuff. Bitcoin still 43,639. ADA trying to move on its own a little bit here. Trying. And we'll see how that plays out. I have these coins: Doge, AMP, ACH, ADA, SHIB, AMC, and XLM. That's a very solid portfolio there. Good stuff. I know your SHIB is probably doing pretty good right now, so that's awesome. Solana, I mean, we'll look at it. Solana is at a pretty good price now. I still wanted to see a pullback further than this, but overall, I mean, it got a nice pullback to the perfect to the 200 EMA, right? So if you were looking for a dip buy, this was really the dip that you would have liked to be able to grab. The dip to here, but the real dip, these EMAs are actually mixed up a little bit. The real dip I would have liked to be able to grab was the dip to like this 110 level. And if we see another Bitcoin crash, that's about where it's going to hit. And that'll be a great spot to buy up some Solana, in my opinion. So if we can see Bitcoin do that one more crash from these levels down, that's going to be the spot that I would really like to get in at. It's somewhere around 110 to 115, anywhere in this area. But here, too, this is good value. I just probably wouldn't all in there. All right, bit of a sell-off here on market reopen here. We're heading to the bottom of this pattern. And we'll just see what happens here over the next minute. If this messes around and bounces back up, we'll consider wrapping up. But I just want to see if this is going to break under, which it probably won't. Hey, what's going on, Josh? Just crawled out from under my rock. What's the story of the day? Story of the day, bad news over in China. Having like a $300 billion worth of debt company going bankrupt, so they're not going to be able to pay back the like institutional investors and the retail whoever invested in their company, and so people are going to be out like $300 billion worth of money, which is a massive problem for the market, as they're going to have to close some of their positions because they'll no longer be able to. They were getting interest paid out to them for their investment, and now they're not going to get that, so they have no more cash flow from that. It's just lost money. So that's caused a crash. And then we're also just seeing Bitcoin go below key levels, which is bad. And we're hoping for a bounce here, seeing a pattern that could break out to the top side. But we're also seeing just overall signs pointing to the fact that we might go down towards around 37 to 40,000 before we stop. James says, what coins do you think are not or will not be affected by Bitcoin? Really only the coins that I don't trade. And that's going to be extremely low market cap coins that are going to be like rank 500 and lower on coinmarketcap.com. So I don't have any coins I could really list that are not going to be affected. The one that should be affected the least is going to be AMP. And even at this point, it's been affected as it's down at it's at like 4 cents and 3/10, which is not very normal. So if you're trying to invest in something that's not going to crash much harder, AMP is your best bet. But I don't have any other recommendations there. All right, guys. Well, I think that's about going to do it. I think I've pretty much answered all the questions you guys have had. Just keep an eye on Bitcoin. Like I said, we are getting a bit of a pattern here. There is a chance that it breaks out to the top side of this pattern. But considering that if the general expectation is that we're going to be have a red month of September, just like we have historically, that means we're going to have to end the month in the red. We started this month at 47,000 flat which means we'll have to close under 47,000 to end the month in the red. So if that's going to happen, we won't be closing over 47,000 this month. There's only 10 days left. That means upside potential. We're probably not going to be messing around with over 50 if we're going to need to pull back to under 47. You know, it's probably not going to happen. And overall, people's sentiment is right now pretty bearish. So for that reason, too, it's most likely not going to happen. So a lot of things pointing to us not going much higher than we are right now. Probably not much beyond 44, 45. And if anything, we might get a break out of this little pattern here and then like a pullback down towards 40 or something like that. That would be my best guess, but we will see. Anything can happen. 37 to 40 on the downside, 46-ish on the upside. Those are my guesses within the next 10 days. And, of course, we'll be back tomorrow to chat about it. Bet China's wishing they had that virtual yuan in place already. So all they need to do is hit a few keys. Probably so. You're probably right. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. Appreciate all the support. Stay tuned. Tomorrow, next live stream will be right around the same time. And I look forward to chatting with you guys then. Come with your questions, and I'll be ready to answer them. All right. Have a great evening, guys.